All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm gonna keep on my trend, so we're not gonna do a Nagoon, so everyone just focus separately on your own and be prepared for services to start. You're welcome for you. So we're gonna start tonight by thanking our in-person minion that we have, which is the whole Leonard family. Harold Harris, Sharon Pickett, Michelle Jim, Marcia Sand, Elizabeth Kennedy. So thank you guys for, I said Harold. I did. I went in order. While we go through birthdays and anniversaries, if anyone has any good and blessings, please share them in the chat with the congregation. Birthdays that we celebrated in the last week: Edward Barnett, Lisa Cagle, Jody Hoffman, Brandy Hunter, and Eileen Redwood. So happy birthday. And anniversaries in the last week: David and Kristen Diamond, Harry and Nancy Friedman, and Mark and TJ Davis. That's tomorrow, but still happy anniversary. Does anybody in the room have any good and blessings that they'd like to please share while we wait for online submissions? Anybody? Rachel. Okay, Rachel shared that one of her friends who did get COVID did test negative, and she's feeling better. She's feeling good. Awesome. Anybody else? Anything online? All right, I have to talk about tomatoes again. We do have a good and blessing from the Davises. They are celebrating their 50th anniversary tomorrow. And Mark and TJ also want to share that Harold gave them a call to check in on them, and it was really appreciated that you reached out. So that's really sweet. So mine, I have 2 San Marzano tomatoes that are ripe and on the kitchen counter, in addition to last week's San Marzano tomato, 8 Serrano peppers, and that's it. And I also wanted to share that what's the matter? I also wanted to share my my husband, who's been really active on working on his health, is down 153 pounds today and looks really awesome. He's just not here to show it off. So we're gonna get started with Shabbat candles. So if Michelle, Jim, you'd come up and light candles for us.
In the beginning, when the Spirit thought cover the darkness, God's first creation was light. As the kindle of Shabbat lights, we attest to the majesty of God's work and rejoice in His beauty. Light is a symbol of divinity and creative goodness. It is the outward sign of the inner part which God has granted each of us. In welcome with God, we now welcome with God.
It's adult proof too. I can't do it. Praised are you, Adonai, whose presence fills the world, who hallows us with mitzvot and inspires us to kindle Shabbat lights. May God bless us with Shabbat joy. May God bless us with Shabbat holiness. May God bless us with Shabbat peace. Amen. So obviously Lindsay's not here, so if everybody who's present can sing a little bit louder, and then at home, if you could just earmuff for the songs, that would be really good. We will be on page 2, Lachuna Ranana. We're just going to read that together. So come, let us sing joyously to Adonai, raise a shout for our rock and our deliverer. Come, let us enter God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is supreme, the sovereign over all beings. We'll do Shiru Adonai, and we'll just read responsibly together. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Page 4. I promise we will sing. I promise. I know I'm powering through. Page 4. Adonai reigns, let the land exult, and the many islands rejoice. Dense clouds surround God. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of God's throne. God's lightning illumines the world. Light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright. O you who are righteous, rejoice in Adonai and acclaim God's holy name. Page 6. I'm stepping back. Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kivod shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai be'adrat kodesh, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. I also sing low, so sorry about that. Ascribe to Adonai, you children of God. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name. Worship Adonai in the beauty of holiness. May Adonai give strength to this people. May Adonai bless this people with peace. We'll be on page 7 with Lecha Dodi, and at the end, last stanza, if you are able, please rise with us. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet ve'litila, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mikor habracha, me'rosh mikedem sucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshavatila, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Hitoreri, Ki va'orechu mi'uri, Uri shir taberi, Kavod Adonai alik niglam. Lecha, please rise if able. Dodi. Shabbat Mekabela. Please be seated. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to give thanks to Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a harp, with voice, and lyre in unison. The righteous shall bloom like a palm, they thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. We'll be on page 9 with the Chatzi Kaddish, a very low Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkada v'yitkada shmei rabba, v'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechonu v'yomechon uv'chayetecho b'et Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, ubizman kariv, v'yamaru, amen. Yehei shmei rabba mivarach, v'olam u'amei amaya, yitzbarach, yitzbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitzba'ar, v'yitzraman, v'yitnaseh, v'yitzadar, v'yitzaleh, v'yitzhalal, shmei dekudsha, brihu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran yoma v'imru. Amen. If able, please rise for Baruch. I'm also not going to do a nigun for Baruch, so. Baruch et Adonai Hamgorah. Baruch Adonai Hamgorah, le'olam va'ed. Yeah, on page 11 with Ma'ariv Aravim, and we'll read together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, v'chokmah poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna mishanei tim, umachalif et hazmanim, sader et hakokavim, b'mishrei roteim barakia karit sono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, umavir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Unending is your love for your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. Therefore, Adonai, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life and the length of our days. Then your love shall never depart from our hearts. Blessed is Adonai, who loves the people Israel. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Please be seated. All right, page 13 will be on the Via Hafta. And I think we're going to read it in English. I know, the weirdest thing coming out of my mouth. So we'll read together on the bottom of the page, so you don't have to sing super low for the whole time. You shall love Adonai, your God, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your being. These words which I command you this day shall be upon your heart. Teach them diligently to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign on your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you dedicate yourselves to your God. I, Adonai, am your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, am your God. True and enduring, beloved and precious, awesome, good, and beautiful is this eternal teaching. This truth we be forever certain. Adonai is our ruler, the rock of Jacob, shield of our salvation. Adonai, our God, you redeemed us from Egypt. You set us free from the house of bondage. For this, the people who felt your love sang songs of praise to you. Living God, high and exalted, mighty and awesome, who humbles the proud and raises the lowly, who frees the captive and redeems the oppressed, who is the answer to all who cry out. All praise to you, Most High, the source of blessing. Like Moses and Israel, we sing this song of rejoicing. This is an extra special week to be praising Miriam also, so that's appropriate at every turn. You're welcome. Thank you. Mi chamocha on page 15. Mi chamocha vaylim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, norati l'tosef elei, norati l'tosef elei. Just so you know, from a physiological point of view, if you sing really low, like we're all forced to do because of me today, it actually could be a good pain reliever. It's that vibration is good for you. So I'm helping, not hurting today. Page 16, grant that we lie down in peace, Adonai our God, and raise up, O sovereign, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war, famine, and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful sovereign, give us refuge in the wing of your wings. O guard our coming and our going, that always we have life and peace. We praise you, O God, whose sukkah of peace is spread over us, over all your people, Israel, and over Jerusalem. If able, please rise for tefillah. Adonai sefatati taklu fia gita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Aseh Avot V'Imaot, U'Nevi Gula L'Ifnei B'neihem, L'man Shema Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach Magid. Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham Ezra Sarah. Atah Gibor Me'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rab Mashiach. Mechayeh Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim. Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Machayeh Emunato, B'Shemei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Geburot, U'Midomelah, Melech Memit U'Machayeh, U'Matmiach Yeshua, V'Ne'eman atah l'chayotaho. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, v'kadoshim b'chol yom yavelu Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Please be seated. This is the second week. I didn't turn the light on also. Next week, I'm going to nail it right before services start. We did Yismachu last week, so let's do Vishamru this week. I'm trying to get a little higher for you too. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Sorry. Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ritzeh, Adonai our God, show favor toward your people Israel and lovingly receive your prayers. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. For you alone do we hold in reverence. We give thanks to you, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our lives, shield of our salvation for all generations. We thank you and recite your praises. Let all the living affirm you and praise your name as the God of our salvation and help. Praised are you, Adonai. Goodness is your name. All praises to you. We'll finish out this section with Shalom Rav, take a few minutes for our own thoughts, and then I get to talk more. So, Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lecho hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. B'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. B'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. le'olam. Ose shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Ose shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Vimru, amen. Okay, so this parsha this week is two readings put together, and a lot happens, but I can't say everything without everyone passing out because it's Friday. So last weekend, I was thinking about what to say. My first thought, again, was this is a whole lot. So I was trying to figure out how to connect all the details of two separate stories and make it meaningful like Rabbi does. So luckily, Monday night, Samson and I were sitting eating dinner, and one of our favorite punk folk songwriters came on. And this is the first artist that we've ever liked at the same time. So this is new for us to have the same taste in music. His name is Frank Turner. Highly recommend. I can give you some recommendations later. So Monday night we were doing this March Madness style best Frank Turner song. And the first song that came on was a song called Journey of the Magi, which is one of his songs. The first verse of it goes, Moses was old, a chill in his bones. Falling apart, he knew in his heart that his time had come. As he lay in his tent in the hot desert sands, he smiled at how he would never see his promised land. I could have lived and died an Egyptian prince. I could have played it safe. But in the end, the journeys brought joys that outweigh the pain. So that worked really well for me. And there was a picture of Moses, so it immediately connected. I knew what I was going to do. It also didn't win the bracket, but we got a Devar. So I'm going to pick and choose. I'm focusing on the Israelites, Balaam's donkey, and Moses are my focus. Also, in this parsha, Miriam does die. So that is something that we should respect and be aware of because she's amazing. So as soon as the Israelites cross the Red Sea and begin the journey through the desert, they come across a little bit whiny. They complained about who was fed first, built and worshipped idols, lost faith, lied about giants, and were overall fairly unhappy with their trip. Their reward for all of the complaining was the promised land, so it worked out pretty well. It's easy to forget that immediately before the whininess, they were slaves in Egypt. Did they complain and question because we are just nudgy people, or were they scared, confused, tired, and traumatized? It's easy as a person who was not a slave in Egypt, me, to read through Exodus and not understand the reactions of my ancestors. Would I have been able to have faith that everything would be okay and trust that I was about to be free after going through a lifetime of pain? Probably not. I've complained about a lot less. I would also probably be a little pissy about being referred to as whiny thousands of years later after all of that. So I never walked in the ancient Israelite shoes, but I did make a decision that it was okay to make a judgment by reading Exodus. Obviously, it's wrong, but it didn't feel wrong until I took a step back to experience their perspective and try to think outside of my head. So then we get to Balaam, who is 4 out of 4 on my list for my list. He is a really great example of the character in a movie that you can't quite figure out. I have personally a very defined stance on harming animals, so I'm super anti-Balaam usually, but the whole point is not to be stuck in my viewpoints. So Balaam was known for his talents in blessing and curses and was asked by King Balak to curse the people of Israel. On his journey to curse the Israelites, Balaam is given signs that he should not continue, but it wasn't until God himself lifted the fog from his eyes did he decide to bless the people of Israel rather than curse them. Was Balaam actually planning on cursing the Israelites? Was he conflicted about the decision he had to make? Was he just being a good soldier, or in this case, technically a hired hitman, because he did get a lot of good stuff from it? If he did intend to curse them, does his change of heart turn him from evil to good? I really don't know. There's a lot of really well-worded and strongly opinionated interpretations by a lot of really smart scholars, and I usually will sway to whatever I'm reading because they're really passionate about it. If I started at point A, though, believing that something that another person found objectively wrong was right, but then changed my mind when I could see point B in the horizon, do I focus on who I am at the beginning of the story or at the end of the story? Balaam rode to curse the ancient Israelites on his donkey, which is my favorite, 1 out of 4 in this progression. Donkeys are really cute, and I really love them. This is a different, very smart donkey, though. This one, she also, it's a female donkey, unable to communicate properly with her owner, did everything she could to keep him safe in face of danger. For her unfailing loyalty to her owner, she was punished, but continued to try to keep Balaam from the danger that he couldn't see himself. When God intervened and spoke to Balaam through the donkey, Balaam became embarrassed and angry. Rather than respond in anger, the donkey questioned Balaam. Essentially, she asked him, after all we've been through together, have I ever given you reason to expect me to intentionally disobey you or cause you harm? Things haven't changed much thousands of years later. It's really easy for us to not listen to others in times of anger, and even those who really have our best interests at heart. But regardless of the consequence, the donkey continued to try to save Balaam. It didn't benefit her directly and it caused her pain, but out of love for her owner, she still continued. Then Moses. I guess number 2 out of 4, I don't know. I'm conflicted. So we are at Moses. He was given the enormous task of convincing Pharaoh to let the people leave Egypt, parting the Red Sea when Pharaoh changed his mind, communicating the word of God to the Israelites, and was given the responsibility for their physical and religious well-being. Moses comes across to us as wise, responsible, and brave, but he also comes across very angry at certain times. Throughout Exodus, we see examples of Moses losing his cool. In this parsha, so close to the promised land, the Israelites complain that they are thirsty. So after consulting with God, Moses is directed to speak to a rock and water will be provided for his people. In the moment, and in a very, very clear manifestation of stress, Moses escalates, strikes the rock, and yells to the people, "Listen, you rebels," which to me is the biblical equivalent of, if you don't stop, I will turn this car around, like right when you're almost there and everyone's asking for snacks. So this isn't the first time Moses loses his temper in this book of Exodus, but this was the one that had the worst consequence. Was striking the rock and yelling really that much worse than destroying the tablets with the 10 Commandments on them? Was Moses meant to reach the promised land from the beginning, or was the decision to keep him out made later? if he was told back in Egypt that he was to lead the people out of slavery and to the promised land, but was never meant to reap the reward, would the story be different? This one's really easy to speculate, really hard to find any consensus on the internet or in books. We all now do things that we may never benefit from. Some are low risk, high reward, like planting fruit trees and not getting to eat the fruit. Some are high risk, high reward, like advocating for equality during a pandemic. Recently, Rabbi and I had a chat, and he helped me kind of understand that there are no correct answers to this question. And excluding yourself, your needs, and your situation from the decision-making process is impossible, but we do the best we can with the information we are given and the projected outcome we hope for. So, all four parties, the ancestors, the ancient Israelites, I want to thank for reminding me to always meet people where they are and remember that fear exists, whether you've experienced it or not. To Balaam, who I still don't like because hurting animals is wrong, thank you for reminding me that we're not born the person we become and that a change of heart or opinion is often a good indication of growth. And I literally wrote, still don't hurt animals, I will hurt you. And I mean it. So, to the donkey, my favorite character in this story, thank you for reminding me that the people we love are worth fighting for even when it isn't easy. And to Moses, thank you for reminding me that losing it every once in a while is human. And no matter how large or small the responsibility, you believe in what you believe in. And if you do, doing what you're doing and who you're doing it for is always worth the time and dedication that you put into it. So, Shabbat Shalom. And we should note that we should be celebrating Miriam's life here. So, Becky has announcements. Like a commercial.
Good evening. I want to say a special thank you to all our in-person minion. There was a little bit of a juggle and moving around today, so I appreciate everybody who was able to step up and step in and lean in and help people. I want to echo the Parsha tonight and focus for just a second on it's not where we start, it's how we finish and who we become and how we get there. And everybody has the right to transform and become into something different than what they thought they were going to be. And I think throughout this crisis, people are finding inner strengths in themselves that they didn't know that they had. And I think they also have a little bit of Moses going on in them, and they have those moments of stress as well to remind us that we're all human as we go through this journey. We don't have a lot of announcements because it's summer and it tends to be a little bit quieter, which is nice. We still have Torah and Tefillah tomorrow, led by Miss Helena. And next Friday, we have Miss Casey back as well, correct? Correct. So I'm appreciative of that. I do want to bring attention to the fact that we have moved our security into the 21st century. And I am so excited and super proud that through a lot of hard work by the security committee and by the office administrator, who also happens to be my husband, we were able to make this happen. And what for CKA terms, it was a very short period of time. We have doubled our cameras. So now instead of 8, we have 16. We have full coverage of the back of the building. We have full coverage out toward the annex. We have a much better camera view into our playground. And when we have a license plate camera that grabs as well. That's all super exciting because we also can remote access this through an app that will be on both the office administrator's phone and a handful of the board members. So it'll be nice to be able to see that, to see who is coming and going and to track what is going on. The second step of the security was the enhanced building access. So that is intact. We put out in the blast that the building is now secure instead of through the numeric keypad. Those folks who have events that require you to be in the building when we're not in normal business hours will need to request a key card access through just the form that's on the website, similar to what we did last fall when we changed the door lock code. So if you think you're going to need one of those, please reach out, fill out that form. Bob will fill out, get you going, teach you how it works. I, for one, am tickled pink that For anybody who's had to open the building, you have that stress of trying to make sure you turn the alarm off before it goes off and the police come out. So now we have the ability to use our access card to disable both of those at the same time. So a little less stress when you're trying to come into the building, which is nice. And we also have the ability to remote monitor that as well. So if we know, if we check and we see that somebody forgot to set the alarm, we can now remotely set that. So that's a good thing. So the last piece of the security that we're still working on is enhanced lighting for the parking lot. We've had a few ideas, some of which seem to be working out. So I know that Paul Dietz and Bob and myself and a handful of other folks are working through those. So I think by the time fall comes around and daylight savings, when it's more of an issue, we will be able to do that. So kudos to everybody who has made that happen over the last several months, and then this week with getting it all installed. So thanks again to that. Those are all of my announcements, and if Ms. Casey doesn't mind, I'll move into Ms. Shabayroff.
I have two.
Oh, go ahead.
If you are a parent, grandparent, guardian
Oh.
of a religious school student and would like something else to do in your day, we are starting a parents advisory committee. If you're interested in joining, send me an email. What's my email?
Education at kolami-tx.org. Or you could also probably send it to Bob, but just in case, please try Miss Casey first. Thank you.
So it'll be a low stress Zoom meetings, not very often, but just to talk about, our mutual interest, which is our students and your kids. So please reach out if you're interested. And then if you are a middle or high school parent and your child is interested in being a part of the Naughty Shabbat on July 31st, please reach out to either me, have your kids reach out to Rachel Lennard, Naomi Tell, Kennedy Cagle, Hannah Tell, Morgan Ducar, anybody in that age group is probably fine. It'll get back to us. Any part you'd like to have, we'd love to have you, whether it's just a second or a few minutes, whatever you're interested in. So please reach out for that.
Thank you. We're excited. We are working behind the scenes on what we're doing for religious school. Not really ready to announce anything just yet, but just know that we're working through and trying to determine the best, safest way to be able to continue to educate our kids this fall and maintain the health and safety of our teachers as well. So more to come on that probably in the following few weeks. With that, I'm going to turn to our Ms. Shabayroff list. As we do in all the past, we hope everybody is trying to get better. On our list this week, we have Anna Binder, Sid Binder, Dave Cook, Gordon Ellison, Tammy Ferris, Michelle Griffith, Mel Gross, Ken Hirschman, Jody Hoffman, Judy Hurwitz, Deb Kaufman, Alex Koenig, Lauren Koenig, Bill Lee, Sandy Ledsner, Alan Merkler, Lee Merkler, Judy Morasic, Dawn Neal, Herbert Paley, Adrian Sandler, Myra Schuschler, Susie Vincent, and Howard Watt. Is there anybody in the in-person minion that has a name they would like to add to that list? Thank you.
Jeffrey Harris, Mia Harris, Barry Davis, Ben Hirschman, Shirley Hagan, Sandy Rosen, and Ann and Mike House.
Thank you. Anything? Go ahead. Yes. Thank you. Anything from the chat?
David Burnham.
David Burnham. So with that, we'll continue with Ms. Shabayroff on page 40 of your Siddur. I don't sing quite as low as Casey, but I will say as an alto, I very much have enjoyed services tonight.
Yes, thank you. You're the only one besides me.
For those of you sopranos or high tenors out there, too bad. I've enjoyed my Shabbat. So we'll start. Mi Shabayroff Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberachimotenu, Mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Okay. We're gonna move into Elenu, which is page 82. If you're thinking about it and you want to put a name in the chat for Shiva, Shloshim, or Yartzeit, you can do that in advance now. Rachel, do you want to come open the ark? Thank you. Rachel and Ard's going to come open the ark. She's beautiful and radiant in her dress. We'll be on page 82. Please rise if able. Ushama, Ushama, Ushama. Please be seated if you'd like to. So we will be recalling names of whom we have recently lost or lost in the past, people in our lives or in our congregation's lives. So we'll start with Shiva. We don't have anyone sitting Shiva this week. Is anybody in the live audience in Shiva? Anyone online? Okay. Shloshim, we are continuing to support the Dukar family with their loss of Anthony Brill. Anybody here in Shloshim? No one online? For Yartzites, we have Jerry Arts, Dora Diamond, Mark Friedman, Dorothy Gadan, Eula Jean Ledden, Betty McCall, Ruth Mensch, Marlene Roth Siegel, and Meyer Watt. Do we have anybody in person observing a Yartzeit today, this week? Anyone online?
Yes, Philip Rosenbaum, and Janet Goldstein O'Connell.
Thank you. All right, we will all rise if able. Turn to page 85, Mortar's Kaddish. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash me rabba v'yama divra chirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayachon v'yamachon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael v'galav v'zman kariv v'yamru amen Yehe shmei rabba mevarach le'olam ome almaya Yitzbarach v'yitzshabak v'yitzpa'ar v'yitzraman v'yitnaseh V'yitzhadar v'yitzhaleh v'yitzhalal shmei dekudsha brihu le'olamim kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'yalma v'yimru amen Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen Oseh shalom b'mramav Huyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated. So, I don't really have a closing song. So, if anyone has any requests, I suppose that would be fine, but you have to sing it yourself. Anybody? I was gonna sing, I had a bunch of options, but they're not happening now, so we can talk about that later. So I think let's just go into Kiddush and Motzi and get out of here while the sun's still up. So, Ben. Thanks, bud. You can throw bread if you want to, but you don't have to, and you can throw it without hitting your sister and just throw it at everybody else. That's fine too. He's not gonna risk it, he says. Here's your non-fermented juice.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei puri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. Shabbat kodsho Tanu Kidashta Mikol Ami Shabbat Kosheka Ve'avahu Ratzon Yinkatanu Baruch Atah Adonai V'kadesh HaShabbat Amen. L'chaim.
All right, I'll throw, you sing. Cool? We throw bread now, is our thing.
Yeah, sing it 2 minutes.
When we go back to full loaves of challah, I still hope we throw them, because they're shaped almost like footballs.
Not the whole plate.
Yeah, fine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Thank you, Ben. All right, I'm going long first. That was long. It was long. I am not. I'm going this way now, Harold. 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 You're my lucky charm. Don't make fun of me. Only I can make fun of you. Yeah, it is. Ooh. Did I break your hand? One hard, y'all. Come on. Bob?
Oh, yeah.
Who's missing one? Why would I throw stuff back? That was a good one, that wasn't me. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Gosh, I can't throw. Ask Bob, I'm an excellent kickball player.
That would be a fact.
I know.